Simon. We got a tight shot today. Sorry.
Salute.
Our chairs don't want to like do the Lego thing. So
let's see.
There you go. We're going to do a new style. We're just going to swivel it.
Salute to everybody out there. As we say, keep stacking. Your ounces and your Satoshis. So, everybody know what it is. Let me see here. Everybody knows what it is. What we're talking about today. We're talking about Bitcoin, the Bitcoin explosion. So this should be fun. There's a lot of things going on in the market. There are people with questions of why the price rise and things like that. So we wanted to give you a little backstory to why you may be seeing the price rise, why you are seeing it be so explosive all of a sudden. Just that you have some kind of understanding why it's making the move that it is making.
Still giving them.
Mm-hmm.
Still giving them.
Okay, the reminders. Which ones are those? I did do that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay, yeah.
Also, I just want to shout out Cousin H. You sent us a beautiful email. I just want to send back one as warm and as beautiful to you. So thank you so much for such a beautiful email. And I want to shout out Cousin Rue because he was just on like a couple minutes ago and we missed it. Hi, Brandon Mays, Better Days. Thank you so much for joining. All right. Harvey's going to answer all the questions that all the people be having and asking on social media. Most of them.
Yeah. Get a second.
There was something I wanted to say and I can't think. I hope y'all are having a good week. It is a week of prosperity and abundance. So I hope y'all are engaging in that energy. Today is 11/11. Y'all know November is the master building month. The one and the one kind of look like a tower. So it gives you the idea of building. If you're not building, you're destroying. So this is the month for building, right? There's a time for everything and everything has its specific energy. 11/11, they say, is a very potent energy because you're building upon building. It was also my mother-in-law's birthday. So may she rest in heavenly peace.
There.
And then I get to think about my dad on Wednesday because that's his heavenly birthday. Our two parents had similar birthdays. So I would like to encourage you guys this week, especially with Bitcoin running and the atmosphere and the energy of abundance and prosperity and wealth and all of that good stuff, to definitely be setting your intentions, right? Very clear, specific intentions, doing the inner work, doing the mindset. If you're like, Aaron, I want to do all of that stuff, but I have no idea where to start, just email us. The email is right there in the frame, assets.arbitrage@gmail.com. That way you can begin to shift your reality in order to magnetize the reality that you actually want. Magnetize the things that you actually want, and you're not magnetizing the things you don't want because you don't know how to switch it over the other way. Alexander, thank you so much. It's no worries. They lived great, fruitful lives. They were great parents. Cosmo, hey family. All right, you ready?
Yeah, I got a couple.
Go ahead.
All right. I just want to go over a couple things. I'm gonna start first right here. I'm sorry, that tight shot. I'm gonna start first right here with a friend of the show, Les Square. He's a friend of the show. I hope you're watching, Les.
He'll probably be on in a bit.
Okay, I hope you're watching. So Les Square sent me an email with the question. I figured, yeah, we could start out with this question because it's a great question. He said, Les Square, I really want to get your opinion as to why you think the market is really spiking at this time. I know that it can't just be Trump was elected as president. Also, I am aware that we got a reduction in interest rate. What are some of the other factors that you think are causing it? Second, what is your go-to portfolio at this time? Peace. All right, so let's start with the first question. Some of the reasons why Bitcoin may be spiking. And you know, a lot of times you see these price movements and you're not really sure why it's moving. So it's always good to know why it's moving. So now, if you remember, we'll start right here. If you remember, as my wife would say, right, this Bitcoin's doing the dance in the 60s. So if you go back and look at the chart, Bitcoin did that dance for almost 7 months.
Oh boy.
7 months, it was back and forth in the 60s, not really moving below, not really moving above. Sometimes it got in the high 50s, but it stayed in this channel. And as you did your technical analysis on the chart, if you looked at it, it appeared to be falling, turning into a falling wedge, you know, slowly over time. So once you hit the end of the wedge, it's time for it to break one way or the other. Typically, falling wedges will break up. And that's what you're seeing. You're seeing the ability for it to break up to 70, to all-time high 70, and then through the 70s, through the 80s. Now, from a technical standpoint, I'm going to give you a few reasons why Bitcoin is actually going up. And these reasons are very technical, and it's the big boys playing behind the scenes. That's what it is. So this is from CNBC. So you know, guys, it's reputable. Over $2.8 billion bet on Bitcoin topping 90,000 as its all-time high. Okay, that's what that means. So what we are seeing here is this is a day old because Bitcoin reached a new all-time high, 81,000. So this is a little behind. And futures and premiums soared, a clear sign of investors believe the record run in the world's largest cryptocurrency is poised for even more gain on the back of US elections that saw a swell of pro-crypto candidates win office. So here we go. Open interest in Bitcoin's price surpassing 90 million rose to 2.8 billion on the popular, I'm sorry, which one?
So far, it's 90,000.
Yeah.
You said 90 million.
Okay,
I know you meant
90,000.
2.8 billion.
So there's an exchange out there. It's called Deribit, and it's a derivatives exchange. And it's one of the few crypto native platforms where you can buy Bitcoin futures. All right. And the Deribit encompasses, I'm sorry, it's so small, most of the offshore option market. So this is an offshore option market, meaning people all around the world can buy futures contracts on this exchange. And what you're seeing is you're seeing a wall at the 90,000. So if you went to buy a $90,000 future contract, you would have the strength of the 2.8 billion to push you past that price point. Okay. And so what this really means is option markets bias have heavily toward momentum. Call options trade at a premium to puts. So when you get a call option, you have a very high premium. The puts do not have as high. So they don't have enough money in the puts to push the price down. So I'm sorry, did I miss something?
No.
Oh, okay. Now that's the offshore options market, the ones that use in America, the CME derivatives market, the Chicago Mercantile Exchange derivatives market. Exchanges offers Bitcoin future contracts and is popular way for institutions in the US to make bets on the future prices of Bitcoin. So Velde told CNBC that on Friday, CME premiums for Bitcoin averaged 14%. So what does that mean? That means you want to go out and buy a futures contract on Bitcoin. You pick the price. Say you think it's going to go over 100,000, and that's the call option you decide to pick, or the futures contract you buy. You'll have to pay 14% for it. And if you say you buy one whole Bitcoin, you'll pay close to $14,000 in premium to buy that contract. Okay. And that's ahead of the election, though. The premium was 7% before President Trump was elected. Once elected, the premium doubled.
Mm.
And these are people who are buying large amounts. They're not just buying one future contract. They're buying many, many, many futures contracts, 10, 20, 100. But because the surge, because you can't push down on the puts, the price keeps going. It keeps running. It keeps running. And that's what you're seeing right here. You're seeing that wall at 90,000. So it's going to be almost like a magnet to pull Bitcoin towards 90,000. Did you not say anything? Okay. And, you know, because a little bit of what Trump said, he wants to make America the crypto capital of the world, right? So that gets sentiment up. Always remember, people, sometimes we forget and we think, you know, well, we are retail investors are kind of moving the market when we buy and sell. But it's not that. It's these people buying these large contracts, futures contracts, these people buying large call options. That's where the money is, and that's what's moving the price. And because remember, Bitcoin has no top. The all-time high, every time Bitcoin is a little bit high, that's the all-time high. That's the all-time high. So it's in what we call price discovery, meaning there's no all-time high. So the price has to kind of discover where it's going to go. So price discovery, it could go as high as anything because right now it has no top. And that's scary to them, but it's good for us. We watched it rolling for the last, 3 days? 3 days. And, you know, and I go back and I'm looking at the chart and I say, yeah, it was 60 for almost 70 months. In that range, it's broken out. And, you know, and a lot of it has to do with these calls, these futures contracts, and the sentiment of the futures contracts with out of the money calls. So this big boy is playing behind the scenes, making moves, making the price movement. So, you know, it's good for us. It's been great. It's been the last, I don't know, since I want to say late September, early October, we started getting some movement where we popping through 70 and it was a little fight, but it kind of made it through the 70s, but it plowed through 80. No problems, no resistance right there. Bam, right through 80. So it could do the same thing at 90. There's no resistance. There's no all-time high. There's nothing keeping it from going higher and higher. Remember, also, if you go to the chart, Bitcoin is very close to flipping silver and market cap. So it's 92% there. Once Bitcoin passes silver and market cap, the only thing it has left is to pass gold and market cap. And it'll be more valuable as market cap goes than gold, silver, and other commodities that you may buy out there.
I think it's also worth mentioning, though, that in the energy of abundance of Bitcoin having no top, and we're enjoying, you know, that price discovery.
Oh yeah.
That unfortunately our fiat has absolutely no bottom at over 17 trillion per quarter being printed.
Yes, and she is right about that. So now what we're going to have is also with President Trump coming to office, and I said this before, I'll say it again. He said losing the world reserve status. I'm sorry, I'm out of the mic.
Yeah, talk about it.
Okay. He said losing the world reserve currency status is equivalent to losing a war. So he's now in office. He is not going to let the dollar, he's going to do everything he can to prop the dollar up and make sure it keeps its world reserve currency status. So for investors, you have that on your side as far as the dollar goes. Now, the dollar is strengthening against these foreign currencies right now. As we sit in Mexico, we watch it strengthen against the Mexican peso, you know, physically here, because we physically have to use it. Say, for example, because we keep a Bitcoin account that is necessary for using, you know, maybe day-to-day stuff, grocery shopping, gas, and all that. We have ability to take profits right there and use it for things for the family. But the thing is, what happens is if you sell some Bitcoin, it turns into USD. But because we don't spend any USD, we bypass it and the Bitcoin goes straight to being a Mexican peso. So earlier today, 1 Bitcoin equals 1.77 million pesos. So you see that exchange, that's huge. And you get a great arbitrage by going from Satoshis directly to pesos. And that's the arbitrage we see all the time because we don't need dollars. We bypass the dollar because I'm not going to spend dollars here and I'm not going to waste money exchanging dollars at a premium, right?
Mm-hmm.
No way we're doing that. So we found a little cheat code in the game, and every time Bitcoin goes up and it pushes further down the Mexican peso, that's all profit on top of the Bitcoin profit. You get profit on top of the Mexican peso. So that's the cheat code we've been found for the last, I don't know, ever since Bitcoin been going. We got here, Bitcoin was $600, something like that. So, ever since then, we've had the cheat code on the Bitcoin going directly to Mexican pesos. And you could do this in any peso or any weaker currency. You have that option to bypass the US dollar and actually make money on the weaker foreign currency.
It's also a lesson, folks. And when you're setting your clear intentions and you're telling the universe that you're going to manifest being a multimillionaire, you have to be specific. So I got it in the pesos, and I was telling, the Most High, like I meant multimillionaire in US dollars, not necessarily pesos, but I'll start here. We're going to continue to stair step our way up to the US dollar. So y'all be very, very specific in your intentions as they materialize. Wow, the Simon cheat code. That's so funny. Yes. So it's also a great lesson in the benefit of flag planting, right? Because we said before, and I want to shout out Cryptonomics. Thank you for letting me know that the mic sounds low. We're just going to do the show different.
Sorry, we didn't.
I'm going to pivot it in just a second because I'm going to let you talk.
38,000.
But, right, maybe if you move your geographic location, that gives you leverage. The lifestyle that you would prefer to have, that you would like to materialize into your life, you have access to without spending as much of your profits or as much of your taken away from the goals of how you want to invest and so on and so forth, may be more beneficial to you. Thank you, Cryptonomics. I appreciate you. Hi, Eyes Ray. Thank you so much. So keep up the good work, fam. But the idea being that I'm seeing after Trump was elected president, there is an onslaught on our timelines of people saying, I'm leaving the country, I'm leaving the country, I'm leaving the country. Okay, right, we've seen this before. We were leaving the country the first time he was elected. We left shortly, not because of his election, but we left shortly after the presidential nomination. That happened I think November 4th or November 5th that year when he was 45. And we left October. No, we left before.
Yeah. Right after.
Right after. We left right after. I thought we left on October 23rd. So
we was planning it the next year. We was planning a long time.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we left shortly after. But regardless, we left with the intention of having the ability to maintain a specific lifestyle for our children's sake. Like if it was just us, y'all, we would have went hard. Simon and I were a young couple, didn't have any children. We would have went uber hard. But we do have the 4 boys, and we wanted the experience to be beneficial to them, to be robust for them. So we wanted to maintain a certain lifestyle. We still got the job done, and we have further plans of being more assertive and more aggressive in this run, right? So, but be specific, write your goals down. If you are actually leaving and you have questions, email us. We'll sit and we'll talk to you about benefits of flag planting and giving you the ability to create the room to aggressively invest. I also want to say hi, Shiny Goo. Yeah, let's go. Let's go.
And so I wanted to say something else in the technical sense. So I don't know if you guys watched Bitcoin over the weekend, right? So all the trading markets, Bitcoin, but the CME market closes on Friday, where you can still Bitcoin trades 24/7. So you can still trade it during the weekend, which is a thinly traded market. So I was surprised about this morning because usually when the volume comes in, it'll, kind of stabilize the price. But here, what you're going to have is you're going to have a CME gap, which is a gap in the trading. Say it closed at 82,000 on Friday, 4 p.m. and it opened Monday morning at 86,000. So you got a $4,000 gap in your trading market. So you got to watch for gaps in the chart because the price likes to retest gaps, right? So if you get that gap from 84 to 86 or something like that, price likes to retest it before it goes on. So there is a small CME gap right there. You can keep your eye on it, but the volume of the futures and the liquidity of the futures is just going to push it higher. And that's what we want to see. We want to see it pushed higher. We want to keep our eye on it. I'm not going to lie, just personally, as us as a family, I decided to take some profits around 87.5, 87.6. Just take some chips off the board, see what's happening, and see how we will allocate them, see what we want to do with them. And not like something stupid, but like as far as investing, do we want to move them somewhere, put them somewhere safe? Do we want to, find some other investment vehicle that we want to move them in, since this is the profit that we take? And so, now we have to discuss what the strategy and what the plan is going to be with some of the profit taking here at, I think it's 87.5 or something. I had to look at the trade order, but just talking to each other, saying, yeah, this is a good time to snatch up some profits, take some off the board, to see what happens. And she's okay with it. I'm okay with it.
Listen, y'all, that's hubby speak for. I already have a plan for the money. I just want to see what you have to say about it. And I'm always say whatever you think is best, go ahead and do. But one thing I will say about Simon, like I said, he always has a plan for planned profits, unplanned income, so on and so forth. And it's really something that you guys should also adopt and employ. It's just because we're in partnership, he wants to be polite and share his ideas with me. But again, you guys should have think pads or somewhere where you keep all of this stuff. Don't keep it all up here. We'll talk about that another time. But definitely write it down, have some structure, bring it from the ether, like what I like to call it, and bring it into the third dimension by writing it down and say, if I ever come into unplanned money, unplanned deposits, if I didn't expect something to take off the way this is taking off, because it can happen with other things as well, especially you guys who like to do the altcoins, this is the plan. And that way the money doesn't fall through your fingers or get spent on stuff that you didn't necessarily need, but you didn't know what to do with it. And that's typically what happens with finances when there's no plan.
There you go. And I'll tell you guys a true story. This morning as I woke up, and I was just kind of like glued to the market, watching it go up, number go up, right? That's what they say about Bitcoin. So I'm watching the number just go up and go up, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, you know what? I feel like trolling some people who were some naysayers.
I said no.
And she said no. She said, don't do it. But I'm just human. I'm human like everyone else. I wanted to troll the people. I wanted to troll the hell out of some people, but I did. So I took the high road. So, right?
Yes.
I took the high road on that one. But it just felt good. All these people who just talk, it just felt good right there for a minute.
They think Bitcoin's monopoly money.
Yeah, all these people, man. So thank you for keeping me from saying that.
The Colonel has some questions.
Would you please share just 2 of those profit targets?
When you say profit targets, what his plan is for the profit?
metals.
And then, so Shiny Goose said that Bitcoin is surpassing silver. The Colonel came on a little bit late, so he might have missed what you said in the beginning.
Shout out to that. Shout out for being on top of that market cap change. Yeah, because that's important. People don't know. It's not something that people really pay attention to, but you got to see Bitcoin flipping commodities. I mean, that's crazy. It's crazy for Bitcoin in the inception of 2009. So we're talking about 15 years Bitcoin's been here to get that close to flipping silver. And silver's been around for what, 5,000 years? That's crazy. So when you see it, eventually it'll flip gold and it'll be, I don't know if it'll ever be a tier one asset, but it's getting close. It's getting close.
You want to just share? Remember earlier you want to tell them?
Yeah.
Like in 5 days, it did 15%.
Yeah.
It takes Fidelity, our 401k, take the whole year to get that 15 to 20%.
Like she said, in 5 days, we're up 15.68%. That's 5 days. Then people, you go get the financial advisor, and they're going to manage your portfolio. They're also going to charge you. And you'd be lucky to get 10 to 15% return in 12 months.
And
12 months, they're going to give me that.
And then even the S&P 500, Raul Powell said that's 11%.
Yeah, that's S&P index funds.
There you go.
11%. So let me see. Yes.
I'm going to answer that in a minute.
Precious metals. What shares this to? When
he said yes, he was saying yes. What are your plans to do with the profits? Since you already have them, don't keep touching it.
Oh, okay. It just comes out the question is.
Yeah, I'm on top of questions.
Well, I need to be able to read it, just make sure I answer it correctly.
So he said yes. He wants to know what your plans is for the for the profit you took today.
So you always keep a little profits, and you want to keep what I call some powder on the sidelines, right? Mm-hmm. So you want to have some cash when you're looking at something to see if you're going to go back in, right? So Bitcoin does what Bitcoin does, and then it has that pullback sometimes. And what I see about a pullback, I see Bitcoin on sale. So then maybe I run the profits right back into Bitcoin at a lower price for it to move up again. Precious metals always, because right now you see precious metals down because you see a strong dollar. That's typically the inverse that you're always going to get. If the dollar is strong and doing well, metals are going to be down because that is a correlation. So you see metals down, and I got an article about that. Mm-hmm. So I see it as a discount. It's on sale. So now is a good time to go get something while it's down at the price it is. You see it pushed all the way to 34, and it has been pushed back down to 30, which seems like a sale because the chart shows that it's going to push back up. So those are the two things I always look at as far as running profits back into. And you have to have a plan. When I say a plan, like a physical plan kind of written out with percentages. You know, if I make this much profit, you know, let's say you made 50% profit and you took that, but you left the principal. Now you have to have a percentage that I'm going to put maybe 10% of that profit over here in precious metals. All right. You still got 40% to play with. And then you look at, all right, I'm going to take, I like this price on Bitcoin. Let me take 10, 20%. Mm-hmm. And then kind of dollar cost average back in, because if all you do is take profits, you wait for it to drop, you buy it again, it goes up, and you keep making money in that fashion. And it's not easy to do, as I say, because the price moves and people get nervous about their positions. But if you don't get nervous about your position and you have a long-term, a low time preference, it won't matter, right? I looked it up this morning, and this date last year, Bitcoin was worth about 28,000.
And it went up for the year. That's year to date, right?
No, you got to do 1 year. Yeah, hit that more.
I hit the more. So it's up 136%.
Yeah.
From this time last year to today.
So that's you crushed it right there.
I said that wrong. For 1 year, but year to date, it's up 98%.
Okay, so year to date means since January 1st, it's up 98%.
It's from January 1st.
But 1 year means I'm talking about
November 11th
to November 11th is up 138%.
Yeah.
And that's just a low time preference of 1 year. And you get all that return. and you're really killing the market. And you don't have to be some kind of stock guru to do it, because the writing's on the wall. It's telling you where to go. Follow the money. These guys are buying megatons of gold. You see Larry Fink, the CEO of the largest hedge fund in the United States. You see what he's doing. He's buying Bitcoin. He's buying Bitcoin. He's buying Bitcoin. So follow his actions, and follow those actions. You don't have to do nothing. You don't have to do nothing at all. And if you have other vehicles that you believe in, like real estate or things like that, you can run it back into that. If you're big on stocks, you could maybe move it there. I'm not big on stocks because, it's kind of a headache, and this is straight direct, and we see what's happening. We see the writing on the wall, and it's easy to make money, and it's easy to get profits right now.
So I just wanted to read what this is with this.
Yeah.
So Costa Ricardo said, "Thanks for carrying us through the bear market. Your patience is paid off. You guys are legendary." The Colonel wants to know, what's your estimated Bitcoin pullback? And then Cryptonomics said, "Not a sale for me on silver yet. It's got to go down $25 lower." So thank you.
Yeah. So
Ricardo. And then Colonel wants to know, what's your estimated pullback or retracement, maybe?
It's tough to say because
it was supposed to be 86.5.
Oh yeah, I remember that chart. Like I showed you guys last week at the crossover, 86.5 may give resistance, but it blew through 86.5. It's tough to find because worst case scenario, a pullback you could see maybe be at the former all-time high of 73,000, right? But it keeps making all-time highs, so any all-time high could be a pullback as support, right? And so it really is hard to tell what it's going to do. And that's why I don't speculate on the price, the pullback. I keep watching the chart. I don't see a pullback in, if you go to Twitter, and you should follow this guy. His name's Plan B. And he has this chart that he made years ago. It's called the stock to flow model. And you can overlay the part that he drew out on the chart, and you can see how Bitcoin is following exactly how it drew out. So right now in the stock to flow model, you can see that there's only upside right now. So I think Bitcoin is going to run for a little bit. I think the pullbacks will be a lot smaller because the market cap is higher and the people who are involved in Bitcoin. You got big players in Bitcoin. You got, and so you got big hedge funds, and you got, I've heard Microsoft is thinking about taking Bitcoin on as treasury reserve assets. So you got them jumping in the game. You got MicroStrategy. He's killing it, man. So big dogs will not let the price get pushed that low.
So 60,000.
He
says so 60,000 is out of the question, meaning it's not going to pull all the way back there to 60,000.
No, that's a tough one, because if you make it over 110, 60,000, you're talking about almost a 50% pullback. And not, like I said, with BlackRock involved, that really changed. MicroStrategy, that changed the mindset of the game of the other CEOs. But BlackRock changed the game because of who they are and the amount of capital that they can pour into and purchase Bitcoin. So, keep your eye on BlackRock. Keep your eye on CEO Larry Fink of BlackRock. And if you see interviews with him or anything like that, make sure you watch him. Listen to what he says and what his vision for his company is, and it'll give you an idea of really how serious it is and really how hard he's going at it.
And that's what Cryptonomics was saying, that right now, he says, this isn't retail buying on Bitcoin. Right now, this is a nation state or something for it to move like this.
Mm-hmm.
Shiny Goo, no pullback. And there is the Thanksgiving pump. We're thankful for it, Shiny Goo. Magnolia Pelican. Are you from New Orleans? It's knocking on 90 now, so it's running. I wonder if Magnolia Pelican is from New Orleans. I forgot about the Thanksgiving pump. More all-time highs coming. Thanks, Shiny Goo.
Yeah.
Shiny Goo like the cheerleader for Bitcoin. I like that.
Yeah, she's right, because the open interest is real. And 90, that's real. So that 90 is a magnet. It's coming for 90. It might be soon. It might be while we sleep. But, keep in mind, guys, I like to stay up and be on top of things. It messes up my sleep, but I'm excited a little bit. But you got to know the other side of the world is trading Bitcoin while we sleep. And on the other side of the world, I'm talking about China. They're trading and buying Bitcoin. Japan, you see the Shanghai exchange, the Nikkei, which is the Japanese exchange, the Nikkei. They're working at night while we're sleeping. So it's a lot of buying and selling. You go to bed, you wake up, a lot of stuff happens because big players are doing something overnight. And then we start again with them during the day. And that's the thing. Like, you got a lot of people in play. Yes, cryptonomics, I agree with you. Nation states moving these prices, not us. You know what I'm saying? Nation states are moving these prices. And so, that's what's up. That's what's up. It's good for everybody. I like to see it. It keeps a smile on my face. And so I wanted to say something about this for you guys. Just something I came across, okay? What's the simple one? Was that the simple one? All right, this comes from Twitter. Sorry, I couldn't share it. This is Stacey Herbert. If you're familiar with her, that's Max Kaiser's wife.
Yeah, I know Stacey.
Okay. She is talking about the President Bukele. So in just one day, this is just one day today, the strategic Bitcoin reserve of El Salvador, which President Bukele purchased, its one day profits are $37,254.13. So $37 million President Bukele added to the value of his country in just one day. Now, he was chastised for buying Bitcoin as Treasury Reserve asset. And he's got around 28. 28,000 was his kind of average. And so this is for his people. If he'd have just kept it in dollars, it just would have been dollars eroding away. So now he looks like a genius now for what he did. He had the foresight to do. And that's just one day. He's not even, this chart doesn't even tell what he has all time. And so he's killing it. I mean, El Salvador is killing it. I really wish people look into El Salvador. It's really killing it. The safety, the beautification, the weather, the prices. El Salvador is crazy, man. And so go check it out, guys, if you can, even if you do it via YouTube. They got videos, people walking around showing you what El Salvador is. You got to check it out. And so one other thing for my sports people out there, right? There was a football player. He used to play for the Seattle Seahawks. His name was Russell Okung. Okay, so 1 year he demanded his salary be paid in Bitcoin. So he had a $6.5 million contract, which the team then paid him $6.5 million worth of Bitcoin. And when they did that and everybody made fun of him, Bitcoin was 28,000. Now, look at the price of Bitcoin. Now they're not laughing at it because he almost tripled his salary just by being paid in Bitcoin. Yeah, just by being paid in Bitcoin. And he's a smart person.
So I want to go back to President Bukele. And I'm heavy on the mindset. And for those of you watching, there's a lot of people out there who think getting rich is like luck, opportunity, it's this, it's that. It's like, no, right? Becoming wealthy and the longevity of it starts here before it happens in your wallet. So President Bukele, his little country of El Salvador,
6 million people,
right? There's only 6 million people there, right? It's smaller than Brooklyn. Like, that's how little it is for my New Yorkers. There's more than 5 million people in Brooklyn.
It's smaller than Chicago,
right?
Like,
but I just want to give you guys, like, it's smaller than a borough in New York. That's really why I wanted to use that.
Oh,
because it's smaller than a subset in a city.
Great.
Right? It's smaller than Brooklyn. It's probably smaller than Queens.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind. Their currency is the US dollar. So they're forced to use the US dollar. It's not like Mexico, like, hey, we got our own currency and blah, 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 blah. They're forced to use the US dollar. He has absolutely no access to the printer. He's not a quintillionaire. He don't have access to the quintillionaires. He is probably multiple degrees of separation, featuring Kevin Bacon. I had to finish the bar from the printer. So what he had to do was he had to say, how can I access my own wealth for my country without having to show all of my teeth, beg, borrow, and plead, or be like uber corrupt, because as he didn't want that, be uber corrupt in order to have access to the resources. And that mindset is a mindset, I think, that even at us on a smaller scale, you want to adopt. One of the things my husband taught me early, and this is for some of the people who, may never watched the show, right? Many of you guys, I don't know if you have flexible gigs, if you're W-2 employees, whatever the situation may be, you want to ask yourself, if your earned income is in fiat, and you know that the fiat is eroding away, you say to yourself, what are some ways I can increase my purchasing power? What are some ways I can maintain my purchasing power is where a lot of people are right now. But you wanted to move a step further and start asking the questions. What are some of the ways I can increase my purchasing power? What are some of the ways I can make more money without having to leverage more of my time? Your time, your labor is what we call economic energy. You are literally trading your economic energy in exchange for fiat that is being eat away at. So you want to have that same mindset. I know many of you are in Bitcoin, but if some of you are watching this and you're on the fence, that's where you start, right? I've told the stories time and time again, like, hey, babe, I didn't get the organization didn't get the raise we were promised. And my husband will look at me and say, okay, what kind of raise do you think you want? Well, I think I deserve a 8, 10, 12% raise. Done. And then he puts the money to work and then he'll present it like, here's the raise, that you couldn't get from your organization. You didn't have to work extra hours. And we were still able to produce the profit equivalent to that. I remember with all of our kids, I don't know how many of you know, but we have a gang of kids. We have 4 sons. We're not a blended family. It's very important for me to say that I carried all 4 of those children. And, for a long time, I used to get big refunds. Like I used to these big, huge refunds.
Yeah.
And then we didn't get them anymore, right? Because I was scaling up my my earned income, right? So I'm moving up in corporate America and stuff like that, taking on contracts and so on and so forth. So we're out of the AGI. And I remember that first year, it took me by surprise. We actually owed the IRS. We didn't owe them much because we used to do write stuff off and so on and so forth. But I remember I was really, really upset because it caught me by surprise. And Simon just kind of like tilted his head and looked at me and he said, why are you upset? I said, because we don't get, those big refunds anymore. Moving forward, we're going to owe more and more money. He said, no, we won't. You want to keep getting those refunds? And I'm looking at him like, I do the taxes. So yeah, like, how are we going to keep doing that? He said, let's set aside some capital and I'll show you. And that's the position. That's the mindset. If you cannot get this thing externally, how can you create that profit, that wealth, so on and so forth? And he's basically just telling you, when you're looking at the percentages of Bitcoin, even if you said, I don't know anything about diversification, I have this amount of money, I'm going to run with this thing. He's showing you, this is the percentage that you're going to get. I don't know how many of you are W-2 subscribers. I'm sorry, W-2 subscribers, W-2 workers, where you work for an organization, they pay you, they take taxes out, but you may also have a 401k with company match, right? Company match is great, 401k is great. But even though Fidelity does fantastic in their, what would you call it, babe? In their industry, that's what I'm gonna say. The most we've ever gotten was 22% for the year. And then what we do is we sit there and we say, all right, cool. I'm going to take out a whole bunch of that, run it through this, let that keep growing, and try to now get 145% for the year on that, right? So after it got his 22, a lot of times I'll go in there and pull it all out and give him a whole bunch of capital, and then he'll run it back through Bitcoin. He loves precious metals, but a lot of it does go through the Bitcoin, and then he's going to get me an additional 140 over the year, because that's what the performance has been. We can only measure it by that. So I really want you guys, when you're talking to your family members and stuff, mindset, start there. I want to shout out Crypto Brown. Thank you so much for subscribing to our channel. He subscribed. He thinks this is great knowledge. He loves it. Let Freedom Ring. Let me shout out Let Freedom Ring. Let Freedom Ring has been with us in single digit shows. So I always want to shout out the love and support. Let Freedom Ring probably been with us now for literally 200 shows.
Yeah, and I just wanted to give you guys two tidbits. I just want to give a reminder and something I came across. First of all, the reminder is you have to know when you sell Bitcoin on wherever you sell it at, it is a taxable event. So I think most people know that, but it's a taxable event. Second of all, remember, it will be taxed like property. It will not be capital gains tax. So understand that if you sell your Bitcoin, like I do sometimes to take profits. When I took profits today, boom, I got an immediate form that it was a taxable event, right? So it is like selling property. If you sold $10,000 worth of your Bitcoin, it's like selling $10,000 worth of land, and you will be taxed accordingly. So, when you do your taxes, if you're using Bitcoin, if you're buying and selling, back in, remember, taxable event. Two, Michael Saylor, right? Like one of the Bitcoin godfathers, supposedly, right?
All right.
Okay, so he went on a show and he explained something. He's a rocket scientist, so he explained something mathematically. So what he explained was, he's asked everybody, do you guys know what is going to happen in the year 2034, right? And everybody shrugged their shoulders, nobody knew. In 2034, 99% of all Bitcoin will have been mined. In 10 years from now, 99% will be mined, and it will take another 100 years to mine that last 1%, right? So what am I saying? I'm saying get as much Bitcoin as you can, because 10 years from now, there'll be barely any left. I can't even imagine what the price will be in 10 years, because the scarcity, the demand will be so high, the price will just be probably past what we actually could even imagine. But remember, 1% will be left. And because of the halvings, if you understand the halvings and the halvings down, right, where we at 3.125 in the halving. So the next halving, it'll go half of that, right? What's half of that? 1.6 something, right? You'll be halving down to where you're not even getting a whole Bitcoin per block because of the scarcity of it. And, and when it's that scarce, the price will rise. The miners own some of the Bitcoin. You have to buy the Bitcoin off the miners. They could charge you a premium and stuff. So in 10 years, a lot can happen in 10 years, but it comes fast. 10 years comes fast. Mm-hmm. So keep an eye on how much Bitcoin is left, how much is being mined. And, you'll kind of understand as you see the less amount mined per block, you could see the scarcity, the squeeze. Back then when there was more to be mined per block, you get these big movements. I don't think you'll see it because the scarcity is too much and market cap's too high and too many big players in it. But, so keep that in mind. Is this a strategy you guys teach? Magnolia Pelican with manipulation. Are we actually buying real Bitcoin now? Yes, you are buying Bitcoin as you have the keys. It is your Bitcoin. If you're buying it on exchange and you leave it, say you buy it on Coinbase and you leave it on Coinbase, I don't recommend doing that, but that is your Bitcoin. And so on and so forth with other exchanges, it is your Bitcoin. Now a place like Robinhood gives you exposure to Bitcoin, but it's not your Bitcoin, right? So if you buying Bitcoin Robinhood, you can't send it to another wallet. All you can do is cash it out, take the cash, and go buy some Bitcoin. But a lot of people don't actually want the Bitcoin; they just want the returns. So they have things like Robinhood. That's why they have ETFs and things like that. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily want the Bitcoin, but they want the ability to get returns that Bitcoin is giving out. So yes, as far as this is a strategy you teach, are you talking about selling the Bitcoin and as it be a taxable event? If that's in your strategy and you use Bitcoin in that way, I was just giving people a heads up that it is a taxable event, and it surely makes doing your taxes a lot harder. Because over the course of the year, I could actually have like 25 taxable events in this one form for each event, which makes it long. And then, you have to.
With wealth comes responsibility.
Yeah. And in some reason, it'll raise your, what do you call it? It'll raise your tax bracket and stuff like that. So, if you understand that and make sure, if you out here, make sure you got a good tax person, a good CPA. So, find the little loopholes, everything's tightened up. The IRS is not trying to audit you and see,
have your stuff in order.
Yes, you have it really in order.
So with wealth does come responsibility, right? You definitely want to have all of your paperwork in order. I just want to catch what you're saying, Magnolia. Let me see. Strategy you teach. Oh, talking about the raises, but it's really just a way to I see you, Will Green. I want to talk to you about that as well. What is he looking for? Oh. So yes, right. You just want to look at, I have an opportunity to do something that doesn't require me to offer, that doesn't require me to trade in more of my time for money that is degrading, for money that is deteriorating, for money that is eating away just by holding it. So that is the type of strategy and it's, like I said, it's a mindset thing that we come across when we're trying to do stuff. Again, we're an extremely large family. We have 4 sons and all they do is eat.
Yeah, let me bust that down real quick. I'll bust that down real quick for you, like she just said. Okay. So say you worked 2 weeks and you got paid. And you took part of your paycheck, we'll say $1,000, and buy some Bitcoin. Okay. So 6 months from now, that Bitcoin is now worth $2,000. Right. So you can never get your time back. But what you did is you traded your hard-earned money, which was your time working, right? And you put it away. And then at a later date, you were able to open it up and have doubled your money without spending time to work for it. And that is a strategy sometimes where you employ, where you can put your money away, and unlike fiat currency, over 6 months it would lose value. Mm-hmm. Over 6 months, your currency, your fiat currency that you turn to Bitcoin gained. And so it is a way to, like she says, giving a raise or, offsetting things, but understanding that you can make money with it without having to work hard or trade time for it. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the strategies. Yes, we do teach that because that's for a lot of people with low time preference and who have the patience to wait 6 months. A lot of people look at the chart every day, but let Bitcoin do what it's going to do. It'll get there and it'll double, sometimes triple your money just by sitting there.
Also, some more, perspective changes. In addition to that is a long time ago, Simon and I, we were going to buy real estate. We went to Detroit. We bought real estate. We were going to set up low-income houses for single mothers and widows, and we were going to do all of this stuff. And we did that for 5-6 years.
Let me get it right.
I want to say 6 years.
Yeah, it's almost 7.
Almost 7 years. I hate real estate. I hate real property, right? It's just, with the management company staying on top of the rent. And again, we were trying to do something kind of sort of charitable, but also create multiple streams of passive income like they teach you. No, 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 no. So Simon gave me another great perspective change.
Yes.
When we were really getting heavy into crypto, he was like, you know what, Aaron? The IRS categorizes Bitcoin as property in cyberspace. So consider it like purchasing virtual property, because that's how they're going to categorize it. They're categorizing it the same way they would if we bought a 4-family multiplex.
Since 2014.
Right. So this is since 2014 for you guys. Thank you for and he said, we don't want, because again, real estate, and this is what people don't tell you, real estate is a liability before it ever becomes an asset. And that's part of the thing that I don't like about real estate, right? Unless you're Grant Cardone and you're outright leveraging investors' money in order to get the property, it is a liability before it performs as an asset for you. So I ain't crazy about the real estate. We like to do stuff a bit simpler.
Yeah. And for people, and here's what happened. I wasn't really crazy about it, but here's what happened. Come across the guy, a broker, real estate agent in Detroit, and he stopped talking to him. And so what they were doing in Detroit in these years, which this might have been 2012, 2013, what they're doing is, she said, like widows and single mothers and stuff. So what happened is the value of their house would drop. So I'll use our person as a perfect example. This is a woman who bought her house for $120,000, hardworking woman, right? But as time goes on, the valuation of her house went down to $15,000.
Yeah.
But she's still paying the mortgage like it's valued at $121,000. So what was going on is he had a plan where people could outright buy the house. So I would go buy the house. I would then turn around and lease it to her for a far less price.
Mm-hmm.
So she's paying $1,350 for her mortgage, and then I could just lease it to you for $800.
Yeah.
And you get to stay in your house. And then what we would do is he would write up a land contract, right? So this is what you owe. And after they eventually paid the house off, the house went back to him. So it was so many houses you get for $10,000, $12,000, $16,000. And you just buy them. And we were living in Costa Rica as the people were living in Detroit. So it's not like we get back and forth. So we depended on the management company.
Yeah.
Right. Somebody call you, my water heater's broken. Well, he's going to take care of it. We got to pay for it, but we're nowhere around. With the lovely lady, my basement flooded. All kind of stuff was happening.
But not just that, Detroit has a troubled economy. So when they can't pay, right, it was a mess, right? And replicate that by like 6 or 7 properties. And Simon and I were like done.
Yeah, when they paid them off, it was over.
Yeah, we cashed all of those out. And Simon says, let's take this capital. And it was a lot of the capital that we put into Bitcoin. But his point was, he says, Aaron, we're not going to do that anymore. We can buy our property in cyberspace and keep paying on it like you would a mortgage or whatever. And that's our property, the Bitcoin. So at the time, we were able to afford actual whole coins at the time, right? Because the price was so low and we got the capital back from the real estate. But we walked into that transaction as an asset right now. As soon as you bought the Bitcoin, all you had to do was sit and wait, right? There's no 30-year mortgage. There's no balloon payments. There's no arms. None of the stuff that helps the banks get paid before this thing performs as an asset for you, that they teach Black people, right? And I'm not knocking real estate. I'm just making a point of perspective change, right? Bitcoin is also considered and categorized by the Internal Revenue Service as property. Cool. Let's buy some property, y'all. And when I'm ready to sell said property for a profit, I don't have to beg for a home equity line of credit. I don't have to give anybody my social security number. No one has to run our credit. There are no hard inquiries on my account, right? Which means I don't have to get involved in the credit system. But When I'm ready to get equity from my property, Simon simply sells at a profit, right? So it's like, well, I don't want to sell the whole Bitcoin. I just want the profit that we would have gotten in this particular case, in this particular wallet. However, he has the stuff because he does have it diversified for Bitcoin. It's focused, but it's also diversified. He's got all these little. So that's a perspective for Black people. And to me, it is a thank Yahuwah that this is so simple. I don't have to ask anybody's permission. I don't have to go through rigmarole, and I don't have to participate in their credit system, which is designed for them to profit and for them to make money. That's really why they hate the Bitcoin, y'all. Y'all know that.
Yes, and
I want to do the comments.
Yeah, and remember this: if you guys see different articles and things like that, the middle class, really lower middle class to middle class, right?
Mm-hmm.
You'll find that their wealth is tied to their home, right? That is their wealth. So you say you got a person who's middle class and their house is worth $250,000. That's the major part of their wealth. But like she said, how can you tap into that wealth? Home equity line of credit. Mm-hmm. So you got to borrow against your own asset.
But you can't do it if you're upside down, right? There's all of these caveats and conditions and contractual, oh, you know what? We noticed that this happened and that happened. Right. If you have a landscaper come to your house and do work and you don't pay the landscaper, guess what the landscaper gets to do? He gets to put a lien against your home. Don't have nothing. They don't ask your permission or anything. They go around you and they say, we're going to let all of your debtors have access to your asset. So before you ever get paid, when you're ready to pay that off, you got to go down the line and take care of them first.
When you sell, you got to pay everyone first before you give yours.
And let freedom reign. That's exactly it. Not only is it a better investment, but to me, it's a better path to wealth, especially for people like us. Right? I just want to catch some of y'all. Okay, so Costa Ricardo said, God candles galore. I love that.
Yeah, it is.
I love that. God candles galore. Magnolia Pelican. I'm going to call you Cousin Magnolia. Okay, that's what I've been doing. I've been buying in the dips. I've been buying silver from AppNext because of us. So we're going to clap that up. We're going to give you your flowers. I'm going to need you to send me a plate for Thanksgiving, Cousin Magnolia, because of your location. We live in Mexico. I'm hungry. G-Man, hey, G-Man, what's up? Cousin G, I don't feel Comrade Trump is for Bitcoin. He endorses it to help give voice. I agree. I don't think he knows anything about it at all, but it's good for the atmosphere. It's good for, and that's why I was trying to tell some of the people who were emotionally invested in Madam Vice President, right? I said, I get that this isn't the outcome that you wanted. You were like wildly emotionally invested in this, and I can understand that. But we have to change our perspective and say, if this isn't the outcome that I wanted, how can this new outcome benefit me? What are some of the benefits that I can see from this outcome? And I am going to tell you, it will allow you, if you utilize the right opportunities, to add to your portfolio, to add to your retirement portfolio. He is good for the economy.
Yeah.
G-Man. Oh, Cousin T, what up, what up, what up? Tell Gordon that gold looking bronze.
Okay, what?
Cousin T said go look at bronze right now because it's going to surpass it eventually.
Yeah,
Bitcoin. Cousin T went live crazy. Cousin Magnolia, let me see. Good to know that Bitcoin is seen as property because I hate trying to understand real estate. It works for some people, and I get inspired when I hear people say, I have a real estate investment company. I've made 4.2 million. Good for you, honey. I'm going to make that 4.2 million with my cyber property. And it's just a bit easier. Again, Simon and I like to brag about this. I like to celebrate it as part of our gratitude. We don't have any debt. We don't owe any credit card companies anything. We don't owe student loans. We don't owe anybody any money. We only have the expenses that we have. that are associated with anyone's lifestyle.
And so,
Go ahead,
did you have read one?
I have one more, but go ahead to make your point.
Oh, I was gonna make a quick point about Bitcoin. Number one, as you heard, and as President Trump said, he wants to make America the crypto capital of the world, right? So this goes into game theory. So this is going to become an arms race between nation states.
Yep.
Okay, so now if he wants to be the cryptocurrency capital, now China, I believe, owns the most Bitcoin of all countries.
Really?
So now it's going to be an arms race where see who can have more Bitcoin. See who can have more Bitcoin. And that's going to spike China buying more, Russia buying more, United States buying more. And that's game theory because even though they sweep it under the rug, President Bukele is a problem. They sweep that shit under the rug. They try to act like he don't exist. It don't, you see the presidents, they'll meet with everybody and their mother except him. But that's going to be a problem. And you know what I'm saying? It's going to turn into like a Singapore or a Dubai. That's going to be a problem, y'all.
That's funny.
That's going to be and second thing, what did I say? What did I just say?
About the game theory? Yeah,
the game theory.
Oh, but tell them. Go ahead.
And make this correlation. Michael Saylor showed it to me. So make this correlation if you can. Prime real estate in real life. Think of downtown Manhattan. That's prime real estate. It's so prime that they had to build up, right?
But it's also generational. You can't.
They build up.
Yeah, you can't
so imagine Bitcoin is scarce. It too is the equivalent of Manhattan. There'll never be another block in Manhattan. All the real estate that's in Manhattan exists right now. You can never get more real estate in Manhattan
than is what's available.
Right. So Bitcoin is the same. It's limited. It has ultimate scarcity. So you can never get more than that's already available, right? So get as much as you can of this prime real estate that is ultimately scarce.
And every time y'all buy Bitcoin, think to yourself, I'm buying a piece of the Upper West Side, Upper East Side, actually.
And don't let people say go buy land. Don't.
Magnolia Pelican, because he said get to know. I read that already. Let me see. Learn something new every day. Reek, cousin Reek, I can never pronounce your name, but I love your comments and everything. But we're gonna call you cousin Reek. Let freedom reign. Bitcoin is just a better investment. Yeah, it just simplifies the whole process.
Mm-hmm.
But Colonel, you're so correct. It's a headache even when you own outright taxes, paying the ash renters. So let me tell you, my mother owns her home. My father passes away in 2020. They live in Florida. In a lot of states, as a widow, she would have gotten an exemption on taxes, right? Because she lost 50% of her income when her husband passed away. You know what Florida said? You got to pay these taxes. You got to pay them in full. Idea being that this is an environment where everybody's a widow and everybody's a widower and nobody would pay taxes if nobody paid taxes in full. So little things like that, when you think about it, if she ever got behind on her taxes, right? God forbid, she ever got behind on her taxes, what would happen? Here comes the lien, and the state would take the property. So if you don't continue to pay until you no longer exist in this plane, you never really own the house.
Oh, yeah. So, nice.
All right. So we'll leave that there. Dear Bit, hey, cousin. She said, hello, folks. Been here just working and listening, enjoying the ride. We love you, dear Bit. Cryptonomics, biggest way to build wealth, get out of debt. That's word. I agree 100%. Yeah, we started there, right? With no debt.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you another story.
Big Watch Dude is here today.
Oh, Big Watch Dude. I ain't seen you in a minute. I got my joint on. Big Watch Dude, I'm in the house. One last thing I wanted to say about her mother is I did some math on what she was talking about. And, because I added in HOA fees, right?
Oh, God, don't add those up.
On top of her HOA fees and her taxes, I figured with some mathematics that she's going to pay. Well, anybody who has that house is going to pay for the house every 35 years. So you buy the house for this price, it appreciates every 35 years, paying taxes and HOA fees. will have paid for the house again, probably whoever she left the house to, and so on and so forth. And that's why, you know, you get beat down by that stuff. And like she said, you feel like you never really own it. And, you know, it's problematic. You know, if you got big money or whatever, you could buy something outright cash and it's yours. That's great, but it's hard. You know, a lot of people don't do that. They can't do that. Good to see you referenced the Victor program. Oh, yes, indeed. This is my Army edition. I like to rock this one. Yes, today's Veterans Day, so I had to rock the United States Army Invictus. So yeah, I'm in the house with that one.
Oh, but let's shout out the veterans.
But see, you know, this is a thing where you don't have to worry about that for Bitcoin. You just pass it on, and that's that. You ain't paying no taxes on. When I say taxes, not like yearly taxes. You don't have to pay taxes on it. You can let it grow.
You pay the event, and that's that.
Yeah, you do it.
But we do want to shout out. We are a couple. We met and got married in the United States Air Force 1,000 years ago. So we want to shout out all those who have served. If you guys have family members that served, we salute you and we really appreciate the service that you've given to your country. Shake my damn head. Pay for your house twice in one lifetime is terrible, but it's the reality of things that when people are hyping you up to buy property, like these are the little things that they don't tell you. These are the perceptions that, like I said, when it comes to wealth, you want to ask questions. Never stop asking questions.
And let's go over this again. My beautiful wife, who knows this, we're using etymology.
Etymology, yeah.
Etymology. Tell them what mortgage means in the breakdown.
So when using etymology, understanding that when you're breaking down words, you're breaking down the energy of the word, right? So mortgage is mort, being death, gage, meaning deed. It is a death deed. And they have absolutely every intention. This is the bank. They have absolutely every single intention in getting every single dollar out of you until you are no longer a part of this particular dimension. And that's with everyone. Now, I don't know if you guys have been noticing.
But tell them, like, hey, a lot of people die before they pay the house off.
Many people die before they pay their house off. People foreclose. I mean, the bank wins, right? It's a win-win for the bank either which way.
When would you ever
around
that death deed?
When would you ever sign a death deed?
In real life, if somebody put a death deed,
must be excited, right?
Yeah.
So I do want to mention this, right? Like I said, when we talk about perspective, looking at the real estate market right now, because again, there's a time for everything, and everything in its time is Ecclesiastes. You want to understand that real estate at this point in time, especially when we're talking about home ownership, is overvalued. Houses that should be 150, 250,000 US dollars are now going for 850, 950, almost $1 million. When you look at $1 million homes in markets like San Diego, San Francisco, different parts of California, these are $1 million homes that are 2-3 bedroom, 2.5 bath homes. And you're saying, I leveraged $1 million US dollars for this because this is what it is in this market. So you have to, again, we don't do stuff because that's the way, well, my mama bought her house and my grandmama, she bought her house down the street. We don't live like that anymore. We don't live in that time where homes used to be literally a third of your salary, right? There was a point when homes were a third of your salary. You could afford to have a home. You could afford to have a car, maybe 2. You could afford to take care of your wife. She may or may not have to work. You can afford to take care of 2 or more children, right? And not be so cash strapped if you live within your means in that paradigm. Now, mugs are house poor, right? They're telling you that Gen Zers have, I think it's a less than double digit chance of being able to purchase their own home and not live cooperatively, economically with other people.
But they're doing that. They don't want kids. They like, ooh, I'll rent. I'll live here.
Yeah, so Gen Zers are cool with the renting and stuff like that. I don't blame them, right? I don't blame them at all. But you just want to kind of shape your perspective and understand that if it's not a good idea for me to purchase real property right now because the property is overvalued, I can still purchase property that will be an asset at the moment of purchase, and I can sit and wait on that. I don't need to wait 30 years or until I'm no longer upside down in my mortgage to have access
at 8%.
to the right, have access to the profits that come with it, to the equity that is available to it. Again, hubby just said, and we didn't mention it, but it goes with the territory. If you have a home and you take out the HELOC, you got to go through the credit check and all of that other stuff, sign the papers, put your social security number on everything. You got to pay that back with interest. Wait, what? This is mine. I pay on this every single month. Why do you get 8% on my what? So the bank wins. The bank wins. The bank wins. And it's one of the reasons why they hate Bitcoin, because they cannot figure out a way for you to have it and them to profit. At the end of the day, the only person who really kind of sort of profits from you taking profit is the IRS, but not the bank.
Yeah.
And that's why they demonize it. That's why they go on TV and they're like, oh, it's monopoly money. Y'all stay away from it. And they do all of the fear and the uncertainty and doubt. And that's what the gatekeeper is, right? Heavy gatekeeper on Bitcoin when you think about it. So let me just grab y'all comments and then I'm gonna give it back to hubby. G-Man said, this is a great show tonight. Those shades are amazing. What shades, Parker? Tell me.
Yeah,
I don't know. My lashes so long they look like sunglasses. Big Watch Dude said, thanks so much for serving our country. HOA fees are pointless though. They're supposed to cover the property and keep the common areas proper. So yes, I agree with that. But Cryptonomics, my mom moved into that property in 2005. We about to hit 2025 and her HOA fees have gone up 2.8%. I'm sorry, twice.
200%. I don't know.
100, less than 150%. That's what I wanted to say. I want to say more than 2.5 times is what I wanted to say. And then I wanted to say percent. So it went up at a little bit less than 150%. So what started off as $200 a month is now over $400 a month, every month, all 12 months out the year. Yes, it's a great development. It looks really nice. It's in a wealthy neighborhood and stuff like that. But I mean, come on now. The gym is the same. Those are the same freaking treadmills. Those shades are amazing. Tell me more about the shades. Cryptonomics. I was an HOA president for 13 years. So you already know the little. You lie in your pockets. I didn't increase HOA fees one time either. Oh, I got you. Okay. I understand what you're saying. So this is a development. It's a company that manages the HOA fees. Them mugs is going to go up because the overhead is nuts at her development. It's an all-inclusive development. So it's like a resort. You ain't never lied, especially in Maryland outside of DC. With the overvalue, that's all over the country with just a few markets that aren't overvalued.
Okay. People don't understand.
90s coming back to 89, Colonel said, Bitcoin. If I had someone else buy the home on paper after the home is paid off, what is the best way to move the property in my name? See, that depends, right? I don't know who the somebody is, but if the somebody is a family member, I would definitely look into a trust. The window shades. Oh, no, it's not window shades. It's a heater. It's cold in the mountains. It's a heater. I remember when banks wouldn't allow you to buy Bitcoin on credit card. I remember that too. I was like, why?
You had to go to Binance.
Not sure if I have no idea because we don't use credit cards.
Binance. You could do it on Binance back in the day.
I'm sorry. Every time I touch this, a new comment shows up.
Outside of the thing.
I'm trying to, and it's still. Bitcoin will soon be valuable enough to borrow against, and then you won't have to touch your Bitcoin. Cool. She has a bad HOA board if they're going too high. Something's going on. No, I'll tell you what's going on. They know that these are senior citizens who have excellent excellent pensions, right? Because a lot of them were union members from New York instead of Florida, right? So actually, everybody came from New York, and they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. They're preying on elderly people. They're preying on wealthy elderly people. I would explore, because sometimes corrupt board members are robbing the community. Yeah, they are. But what can we do about it? She's not gonna move. Yeah, nope. It's a heater. It's a heater Parker, cousin Parker. So cousin Magnolia, who's gonna send me a plate for Thanksgiving, watched a report on YouTube about HOA Corporation and learned how crazy that is. HOA homes can actually sell for lease. Yep. Than non-HOA homes, and people don't like them. Yep. And the thing is, there, everybody wants to build their home.
Mhm.
So one of the really bad things about her development is that the existing structures are hard to sell. They're difficult to rent because mugs I want to build my house from the ground up and go through the experience of choosing the hardware and, all of the items.
I just wanted to say one thing
Go ahead,
about
babe.
home prices and stuff like that. I just want people to have a perspective on what they're looking at. So you kind of see rising home prices. Like she said, a house that should be 150 is now $500,000. But the perspective you have to look at and also see is the rising price is because the dollar is losing value. And because I have a layover chart like a layover chart where you can see how much houses cost in Bitcoin going all the way back to 2009. But each year it takes less Bitcoin to buy a home because Bitcoin is actually appreciating in value. Where if you go over a home and you try to buy in dollars, apparently it costs more dollars every year because the dollar is losing value. And that's why you're paying more for your home. The house didn't really get better. They're just saying you need more dollars because the dollar is losing value. It's lost almost 98% of its value since 1913. So I don't know why people even would keep dollars, but anyway, you see that when inflation as well. They're telling you it costs more of your dollars that's losing value to buy a loaf of bread, to buy a carton of eggs, to buy some milk. All this small stuff is because your dollar is losing value. And you can see it. You get outside the United States and you start messing with some different currencies and you can see it and you can understand what's going on, why they're raising prices against weaker fiat currencies. So yeah, house, man, I don't know. Man. Houses are everybody need a place to live, but boy, like she said, in the elderly community, they're real sneaky, and it's nothing you could really do about it. And that's unfortunate for the elderly people. I've known some people who live there and they die before they pay their house off, and there's nobody to leave it to. It gets caught up in probate, all this stuff that it's just so awful that they do this stuff to people like that. But the boomers too, the richest, I guess they're the richest group in the history of the world, the baby boomers. So and a lot of it has to do with their home. And like she said, their pensions as well are very valuable because of the jobs they work and for the amount of time they work. That's back in the day, Cat working the same job for 35 years. But that doesn't seem like people do that anymore, kind of move from job to job and things like that. Some people do get locked in on jobs for 25, 35 years, and you have a great pension to help you retire. But a lot of people are from place to place. And what I had noticed before, I had to go back and check, they were actually paying people to be 1099 workers. They'll give you more pay, a higher pay and stuff like that. The trade-off is they don't give you benefits. And so you would have to build your own retirement account and you'd have to go find your own health care and stuff like that, where the large corporation may not pay you as much, but they're going to give you benefits and a retirement account and stuff like that. So, it's a lot going on out here, man, every day. And I try to keep up with it, man. I swear stuff is moving very fast. Let's family, man, tell me more about. Yeah, moving it into a trust. So I'll let her tell you about that. She's good on the trust. Um, You say it is a family member. Does she have the deed? Does she have the deed to the home? And the proof that it is a paid off property? Because at that point, she could just sign it over to you pretty easy because it's paid off. The bank's not involved. Nobody's involved. You don't have any liens on it. It's really easy to sign it over to you. But she knows better about a trust. I like trust, but it would be easy as long as you have all the paperwork. But I'll let her tell you more because that's her field. She know that stuff. Well, even my HOA board was robbing. Oh shoot, I did the same thing she was robbing the community. That's how I became president. I discovered where they were stealing and okay. Anyone got US got to inspect them books. Yeah. And and that's one of my things. I understand having exclusive communities, but that's one of the things, if you don't have an exclusive community, there's no HOA to pay. And you don't have to deal with that part of it. So, exclusive communities are good. They're quiet, they're safe, you got amenities kind of things, but then there's the HOA you're going to have to deal with permanently. She paid her house off 4 years ago. Still HOAs, still taxes, still feels close to about how much she paid in the mortgage. So it feels like, do you ever pay it off? Do I ever stop paying this mortgage? And that's how it feels. You think, oh, I paid my house off, no bills. Yeah, right. That's how we feel. But so yeah, man, houses are a tough one. That's why I always remind people Bitcoin being digital property. I always remind people of that. So if you have that perspective, you're like, oh, I can just chop away a property every time I want to, and it's mine. It's mine, and nobody can take it, and all that good stuff. So I'm gonna let her just get back on that trust thing. I didn't really know. I said if you got the deed, the paperwork is paid off, it should be pretty easy to transfer, right?
It should. I would still get an attorney involved. He said his HOA board was robbing the community.
You trust me.
Oh, he liked the blinds in the window. Decentraland is a reputable site to buy virtual real estate. I don't know anything about virtual real estate, to be honest, G-Man. I'm not crazy about the metaverse. So I'm not really knowledgeable enough to give you an answer with that. Is it possible to join a live show or have a call offline? Sure. I'm sorry. This is Parker. So there is our email address. But yes, whenever you want to join the show, just let us know and we'll send you the link. But we need your email address in order to send you a link. But you can just message us and we're happy to do a call. We don't charge. Brooklyn Tall sent a super chat. Unfortunately, Brooklyn Tall, we are we're on the Gentleman's Network, so the gentlemen get that super chat. But thank you anyway for thinking of us.
Thank you. Unless you're on our YouTube, maybe we should get it.
Shout out to Brooklyn. I love it. I'm from Queens. I went through the ringer with code enforcement. Even City Hall is now with the permits, right? Oh my Lord, the bureaucracy with the permits, yes. And the codes and all of that is nuts. It's always something you can do. Robbing people is not legal in the USA. The thieves realize most people won't do anything, so they continue. I mean, outside of asking for the development to do an audit on where all of the HOA fees are going, it's a ginormous development. So big, in fact, they said that it could be considered its own city in this part of Kissimmee. But when I say it's absolutely beautiful, it's resort-like, right? So the idea is that they do everything for you. They have restaurants, they have a supermarket, they have the gyms, the clubs, the pools, I really couldn't argue with them about that. Companies are crooked, yes, they are. Today I had a golf club member and an employee ask about the Bitcoin thing. Hey. Costa Ricardo, that's how they approach you. Tell me more about this Bitcoin thing. It might be time to exit with fat bags. That's funny. just direct them to our show. We have thousands and thousands and thousands of hours of us talking about Bitcoin. The deed for the home is in her name, and we want to avoid taxes. That's why I would get an attorney involved to kind of, right, like give you all of the legal loopholes and to tell you more about the real estate. But yeah, Parker, you can send us a message. We answer every single email. Cousin H, if you're out there watching, or if you watch this after the fact, I'm gonna respond to your email. It was so beautiful. Thank you so much. So
let me just add one
we're on a channel, right? So we call Content Cousins. We have a network. So I'm not sure whose channel you're on, but we have our own channel for Simon Family Investment Ventures. Then you have the Gentlemen of Crypto, and obviously my Facebook channel. The problem is with the restream, the super chats do go to the Gentlemen of Crypto network.
Not if she's on our channel.
That super chat's gonna go to the Gentlemen of Crypto.
Even if she's on our channel and super chatted?
I don't know.
I think that will come to us on our channel.
Yeah, I'll see. I'm not sure which channel you sent the super, but that's not Brooklyn Tall. This is Parker, but they were just asking. So Simon Family Investment Venture is our channel. How do I join the family? Cousin Parker, you already part of the family. I just want Cousin Magnolia to send me a plate for Thanksgiving.
And I was going to tell you guys something, whether it matters to you or not. It matters to some people, maybe they think. Remember, this is property. And, a lot of people keep some on here. We have our ledgers, this, that, and the third. But what I meant to say is you can take your property anywhere you go in the world.
That's true.
You could be in Singapore, but you got your property with you. You could be in Malaysia, you got your property with you. You can be in Brazil, you got your property, so on and so forth.
You don't have to declare it.
Yeah, your property's with you. You don't have to declare it. Nobody knows how much Bitcoin you have, so it's not like you got to pay an import fee like we did when we came through with some precious metals. We had to pay import fee and taxes on it because it was physical. So this is a way to move around, not have to pay any taxes or import fees on your own investment, which is cyberspace property.
And this is why they hate Bitcoin. Oh man, no, you live in Georgia. Georgia got good food, but it's not like if you was back home. And I'm curious, Cousin Magnolia, since you're from the Nolia, right? How you feel about the whole Super Bowl thing with I do want to ask how you feel about the Super Bowl thing where Wayne isn't going to be performing and it's going to be Kendrick Lamar. I don't know if that affects the economy there in New Orleans, but I'm curious about that. Cousin Mo said that they love the Decent wallet. Oh, okay. Did you mention Wallace? Did you say you had a favorite or something? But he loves a Decent wallet. So, and maybe that's where he keeps his stuff.
That's good. I always find a wallet that's comfortable.
So, Cousin Parker's from Denver, Colorado. I love it. We live in the mountains of Mexico.
Be safe.
Did it, so let me ask you, with the immigration concerns that you guys have, but let's do this the right way. With the immigration concerns that the United States has been having, have you been noticing more trouble with certain subset groups taking over apartment complexes? Has that been expanding out to other properties and stuff like that? It says, Cousin G-Man said, what if the grid goes down one day? You think they'll rob everyone's Bitcoin? That's funny that you asked that, because I know you work in tech. Bitcoin's Day a long time ago had instructed everyone on how to utilize their Bitcoin via some type of analog way on their phone. And I think it was like on an Obama phone.
He never even explained it.
But we don't have, yes, it's possible. We just don't have the methodology to it.
But this is the reason you care. This is reason you have physical precious metals, right? Because the grid go down, but you got your duffel bag full of silver and gold.
Yeah.
And that's tangible. That's in your hand. And so that can't be attacked, right? You cannot attack somebody's tangible stuff that they have. So it's good to have something tangible like gold and silver hedging against grids going down and whatnot. But for example, if you knock a grid out, I don't think that they can take your Bitcoin, but your Bitcoin could be locked up because of the way the grid is.
But he's talking about like hackers and stuff. Yes, they can.
Take all the Bitcoin?
If they can figure out, if they can hack into actual cities and shut stuff down and move assets and stuff, yeah.
No, the grid, not that kind of stuff. The grid.
Understood.
The
but
grid.
What I'm saying is if the hacker can shut the grid down, there's a lot of stuff that they can do and you never know. It might be.
Can't do. What you gonna do? I got my Bitcoin on my Nano Ledger. What you gonna do?
You should have it on your ledger and then they can't take it from you. But the other idea is when he was talking about the physical silver, if you guys have watched the TV show, well, the movie that the Obamas had produced called Leave the World Behind, you saw an example of that, right? Dude had $1,000 fiat dollars and nobody wanted it, right? They needed something a bit more secure in that particular paradigm. You guys have to remember that the dollars are not backed by gold or silver. It's a contractual agreement. This is how currency works just across the board, no matter what it is. There's a contractual agreement we have in certain paradigms. If you enter into a new paradigm, like a post-apocalyptic situation, then the game changes, right? Them dollars are no longer the agreed upon contract.
Agreed upon currency.
Right, the agreed upon currency then, right? Maybe potatoes are, maybe fish is, maybe water is, maybe toilet paper is. So you want to keep those things in mind, because I know that they have been ramping up the EMPs and stuff like that. Cousin Jimmy, I know you work in tech, so it is a concern because I'm sure you're seeing a lot more criminal activity via cyberspace. All right. That movie was very interesting. That was Big Watch Dude. Yeah, but it was evidence that like we always push precious metals. You should definitely, for those of you who purchase precious metals on APMEX, you definitely want to get what we call constitutional silver. Ask them for it. That way you can have smaller denominations, just depending on, whatever the agreed upon price is, you can kind of break it down into smaller units. So, and silver right now is on sale, right? It went from $34 to $30. It's a little discount. So, go on and it's so economically reasonable that it's almost unreasonable not to purchase it. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah, and for the people, just for the people, if you check it out, silver, you might check out the silver price. Keep in mind the premiums of silver, right? So if you have 1 ounce American Silver Eagles, you'll have a very high premium on that. You'll have high premium on Maple Leafs. So the price can be least misleading because it may be $30 with a $9 premium. And those are top tier silver ounces, where if you get something that's kind of like secondary or some kind of hand poured, premiums lower. So keep an eye on premiums because that will raise the price. And sometimes the price is cooked in because it may be $30 an ounce, but when you go to sell American Silver Eagle, you get $9 premium, right? So then you actually would sell it for $39. So keep an eye on high premiums against low prices.
Okay. Cousin Parker said that Aurora is wild. That's the name of the complex, if you guys don't know, where the illegal immigrants completely took it over. And I still don't have any insight as to why the police won't get involved. I don't know. Doesn't make sense, but I don't think we have anything else. We're going to give you your time back. We thank and appreciate all of the cousins for coming out and chopping it up with us. Today's Monday, so we'll see you guys Wednesday. Hopefully we don't overlap Cousin Rue.
Oh yeah, sorry about that.
So I'm hoping about maybe 7-8 o'clock East Coast Eastern Standard Time. So we love y'all. If you guys have questions, I know Cousin Parker is going to be emailing me. If anybody else is going to email us, you're more than welcome to email us. We do answer all emails. We will get on calls with you guys. We don't charge a fee or anything like that. Everything's absolutely free, but we are not financial advisors. I need to say that, right? This is not financial advice. We just kind of tilting your crowns So thank you so much for subscribing, Cousin Parker.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. We just want to tilt your crowns so that you can have better perspectives on clear pathways towards wealth and sustainability. Thank you, Cousin Nola. I'm Cousin New Orleans. I'm sorry to say that, but Cousin Magnolia. Let Freedom Ring. Thank you so much. Cousin G Man, thank you so much. Y'all have